Welcome back to today's Explainer. We are jumping right in today because we've got a fantastic foundational pattern to unpack. We're going to learn exactly how to step completely outside of our own entrenched viewpoints to break through those stubborn interpersonal deadlocks. We are focusing on a core technique in Neuro-linguistic Programming, or NLP, known as the meta mirror. Trust me, this is an incredibly powerful tool that leverages different perceptual positions to help you untangle even the most notoriously difficult relationships in your life.
To really get the most out of this, I want you to mentally anchor yourself right off the bat. Picture a very specific person you're currently in conflict with. Think of a relationship that just feels stuck, frustrating, draining, or overwhelmingly difficult. Got a face in your mind? Excellent. Hold on to that image as we walk through this framework together.
So why do we get so stuck? Well, the source material we're unpacking today highlights that interpersonal conflict happens when two people have differing needs that simply cannot be satisfied at the exact same time. The sheer frustration of operating from a single, narrow perspective makes that conflict infinitely worse. It traps us in this endless cycle of just reacting to the other person rather than actually understanding the dynamic. Consider this explainer your procedural playbook. Here's our roadmap. First, we'll look at being trapped in one perspective. Second, the three angles of perception. Third, entering the meta mirror. Fourth, the four-step resolution process. And finally, reflecting on new resources.
All right, part one, trapped in one perspective, the single dimension. Let's look at our default setting, the place most of us live when we're in the heat of an argument.
When you are trapped inside your own head, your perspective might be absolutely 100% true from your specific angle, but it represents an entirely incomplete picture of the whole situation. It's kind of like staring intensely at the front door of a house and trying to accurately describe the backyard. You're just operating at a single dimension, and you simply need more data if you want to actually fix the problem.
Moving right along to Section 2, Three Angles of Perception, Widening the Lens. Let's see how we can build a true psychological antidote for that single-dimensional thinking.
NLP offers a brilliant framework called Perceptual Positions. This was originally put forward by John Grinder and Judith Delosier, building on the work of Gregory Bateson. Think of it literally like inspecting a building from all possible angles. You come in the front door, you circle around to the back, and then you fly over it and look down from a helicopter. There isn't just one single right perspective. True understanding is built from combining all of them.
And this perfectly illustrates the duality of conflict. The first position is your own natural view. You know exactly what you think and how you feel, right? But the second position forces you to intellectually step back and understand how the other person thinks. Now, to be clear, this isn't just about feeling sorry for them. It's an intellectual empathy where you actively imagine their pain, their ideas, and the outcomes they're pushing for.
Then we introduce the third position, the detached observer. This is a step entirely outside of both your view and their view. You step into an impartial, neutral space. From up here, back in that helicopter, you aren't looking at yourself or the other person individually anymore. You are dispassionately looking at the relationship itself. You are evaluating the dynamic happening between those two viewpoints.
Now for Section 3, Entering the Meta Mirror. This is the masterclass application of these concepts. We are going to zoom out even further using a powerful tool originally developed by Robert Dilts.
Robert Dilts really hit the nail on the head here. The crucial point of the meta mirror is realizing that the conflict often reflects how you relate to yourself. Our internal response to our own actions in a conflict is frequently the exact resource we've been missing to fix the relationship on the outside. We basically mirror our external relationships on the inside.
Okay, Section 4, the four-step resolution process. It is time to get kinetic and actually run the drill.
The meta mirror isn't just some abstract mental exercise. It works best if you make it physical. You're literally going to want to grab some pieces of paper or sticky notes and lay out 4 separate spaces on the floor to mark these spots. First position, second position, third position, and a brand new fourth position off to the side.
You will physically walk through these steps. First, stand in the first position. Get intimately close with your own feelings about the conflict. Then, actually step over into the second position, putting yourself firmly in their shoes. Next, step out to the third position to observe the relationship dispassionately. And finally, step into a fourth external space to analyze how that observer feels about the person in the first position. Now, here is an absolutely crucial rule for this to work. When you are physically moving between each of these spaces on the floor, you must break state. Basically, you have to interrupt your current thought pattern. You can literally shake your arms and legs, look out the window for a second, or, seriously, think about something totally random, like what you are having for supper tonight. This ensures you aren't just dragging the heavy emotions of one position into the next one.
Finally, Section 5, Reflecting on New Resources, the integration phase. This is where the real magic of the meta-mirror happens. So, once you reach that fourth external position, having successfully broken state along the way, it's time to evaluate. How did your third position observer feel about the you in the first position? Did the observer feel angry at you, sad, resigned? Here's the trick. You take that emotion and you substitute it back into your original first position. Let's say your first position felt totally intimidated by the other person, but your third position felt angry at you for letting yourself be intimidated. You take that anger and you inject it right back into the first position.
In NLP, they liken this to a chemical reaction. Bringing this newly borrowed emotion into your original first position combines two elements to form an entirely new, neutralizing state. You take that new feeling, which NLP calls a resource, and you experience the conflict from the first position all over again. The resulting state is almost always completely different from either of the two initial states. It's a real game changer.
By running this drill, you fundamentally transform the dynamic. Now that you've practically stepped out of your own shoes, viewed the whole system from above, and successfully integrated a powerful new emotional resource, I want to leave it with this. Think back to that specific person we anchored on at the very beginning of the explainer. Knowing what you know now, how will you approach them tomorrow? Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer. I hope you put this tool to good use.